time for John. Now squeezes, steps up in the pocket. Elway can run inside the 10. Head first. He flies off the 5-yard line. My goodness.
Rushing four, ball comes out of the hands of Newton. It's on the ground and still on the ground. Picked up by T.J. Ward at the 4-yard line.
Manning out of the gun. Manning lets it fly. It's caught by Thomas. There's the record for Peyton Manning.
The Broncos have been in 3 overtime games this year. They won them all. Got him at the 40. It's Thomas at the 50. Stiff arm got him free to the 30, to the 20. Thomas to the 10. Denver's going on to New England. They win it on the first play of overtime.
And welcome to the show, everybody. My name is Mundungus Creevy, and I am joined as always by my co-hosts, Mr. Boggins, Glenn, Bree, and Cam. And you are currently tuned into the 5280 podcast on the MHRT Network. We are a fan-led Broncos-based podcast filling you in on all things Denver Broncos. Now, before we go any farther, we have a special guest on the show today. She has a show of her own named Broncos For Dummies, and you can catch said show on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and she has a TikTok. Ladies and gentlemen, Des.
Wow.
How are we doing, Des?
Woo! Woo! What an intro. Guys, on top of the world. Love it. I'm so happy to be here. Thanks for having me, guys.
Well, thanks for joining us. How's everybody doing today?
Doing good. It's beautiful.
Yeah, throwing up the horn.
Very hot.
Let's go.
No lag at all. No lag at all.
I mean, Tom, I was going to say I'm doing good. I survived a day on Sunday of golf and pickup football, so I am doing quite well of surviving that 95-degree heat. Pickup
That's
football.
what I was going to say.
Oh, I thought you
you
said pickle football.
You know,
I was
pickle
like, I don't
football. You
know if I
basically
wanna know
hold
what
a
pickle
pickle like a
football is, but
football,
like-
and you just run with it.
Cool, man. Cool, man. You do you. Support.
All right. So, Des, again, we do thank you for being on the show. And you do have your own show, Broncos For Dummies. My first question for you is, why did you decide to start a show of your own about the Broncos?
Most definitely. So I have been a huge Broncos fan all my life, grew up in Colorado, and I think it was either over COVID or right before COVID, I noticed that I didn't have any idea who any of the players were because I dropped off a little because I feel like a lot of fans sort of did when we were sort of slumping a little. I would catch games, but I wasn't as invested. And I was like, Des, you got to get back on that horse, that Bronco, and let's commit again. And I was like, oh, shoot, I need to catch back up. And I started looking for things to sort of inform me on a very basis level, and I couldn't find anything. So that's sort of why I decided to create my channel of almost the Spark Notes version of Broncos Country. Like, I read all the articles, I listen to all the podcasts, watch all the YouTube videos, and summarize it into the biggest news of the moment for Broncos Country. So I basically did it for myself. The narcissistic answer is that.
So, Des, I think that.
Oh, go ahead, Marcus.
No, I was just gonna say I love that part, that aspect of it, because like, there's not everybody that really likes to dig super deep into it. There are certain fans that they just enjoy the Broncos in general, and like some of the news that they have access to, like on your show, is really cool, because all the stuff that they just need to know going into the season.
Most definitely. And I think
really
that's
cool.
that's the niche that I was aiming for, because there's so many talk shows. Like, what you guys do is so informative and so important to what I do, because I need to know these things. But there's so many people that they aren't as invested and don't need to know the stats or what happened 5 years ago because of this. So it's just very simple little bits is sort of what I figured out. There's a niche for everything, you know?
Avatar says he just subbed to your channel.
Oh, God. Boom. Wow.
Boom.
stepping up in the world.
We've been helpful.
Branding.
Yes.
He just unsubscribed from us to, but that's another
Yeah,
story.
exactly. That's how it works.
Hold on, let me check.
So, Dad, you moved to LA to pursue an acting career, but you said that you're in a different field now. How does the show fill that void, and what is that acting experience in your past? How does that help you when you're coming up with content for this?
Oh my God, what a question, Glenn.
It's like Sean Evans.
That is so funny. I haven't been asked that. That's wild. So I don't know if you can tell, very charismatic. And I always knew I came to LA to do comedy. I wanted to work in comedy television. That was the goal. And obviously over COVID, everything shut down. And I was like, how do I sort of take this into my own hands? And that's sort of why I just decided to create a channel. And I've always loved the Broncos. So a lot of things, what they say in like the entertainment industry is take what you know and run with it. Create your own television series, create your own this, create your own that. So I was like, okay. So at first I did this to get my name more out there. And then I was like, you know what? Actually, like, I think I really want to fit in with sports entertainment. I could be a personality instead of being a character. And so I think it helps me because I'm very good with talking to people, relaying information more entertaining wise.
That's a word I've heard of. Yeah.
Yeah. Bing. Acting degree, college acting degree right here. So
just take the enter off and call it tainment. We'll go with that.
Yes.
Tainment.
Hashtag tainment.
There you go.
Des, the energy shift within the Broncos organization has been felt tremendously from fans, analysts, all of Broncos country on Twitter. And if you're not already, please make sure you're following Des Broncos for the number 4 dummies. I couldn't even throw up 4. That's how.
No, there was a 2 at first. Yeah.
See, we have Bree, so I don't even have to remember to do that. She does it for me.
Pick 3, my lord.
If you're not already, go follow her, introduce her to Broncos country. We're all active over on the Twitter. But the energy shift and entertainment value has skyrocketed. What have you felt going into this season specifically, and how has that helped you kind of cover the team?
I mean, it has given me so much content to work with because, like, obviously off season it slows down, but from new owner, new coach, new quarterback, we have had so many milestones that you typically don't get in a decade. Like, we had it all in one season. So it's been amazing. I've almost felt like this offseason has been a season. Like, every day I'm stoked to wake up and learn more about the Broncos and what's going on, versus typically around this time, I feel like I'm more like, oh, I'll catch up in like August. I'll see what's going on. But there's so much changing, which is so exciting. I feel like finally people are just so proud of the Broncos. Like, obviously you have diehard fans, love you guys, but there are the people that are like, I like the Broncos, but now it's like, it's a passion that you can just feel, like, on the internet in Denver when I am there. Like, it's amazing. It's amazing energy.
Yeah. I have to circle back obviously to, your channel and everything that you have. And you said you were pursuing an acting career. Was there anybody that you wanted to kind of model your show after, as far as like, or were you just like strictly kind of, just wanted to truly create your own thing? Or was there, as far as like a show model that you were kind of going off of, like, for instance, like Brandon Perna, or, someone along the lines of that, or like, did you have a certain like model in mind?
So I used to do a sketch comedy channel like 6 years ago with me and my best friend. And so I got used to the YouTube world through that. But it's so funny because when I was like looking for Broncos information, I never stumbled across Brandon's channel. And I came out with a couple episodes, like 2 or 3, and I had someone message me and they were like, hey, like, this really reminds me of your channel. Check it out. And I was like, that's like exactly what I'm doing. Yeah. So I was like, oh no, did I just copy everything he does? But I mean, I think as far as like what I wanted to do is I love writing a script and I love adding little comedic bits to it. So I think that's mainly just what I wanted to create and like elevating it through the graphics.
Yeah.
And I figured out that would be the best way to do it. So no modeling. I would love to.
Yeah.
Sometimes I feel like it's sort of a creative block if you watch too many of people that you want to be like, because then you might take something of what they're doing. So I try as hard as I can to watch and not have too much of it rub off on me, because I want to keep my brand,
Right.
this how I created it. Yeah.
So 2 quick questions based off of Cam's.
Mhm.
Does the sketch comedy channel still exist, and what's it called?
Oh my God. It still exists. Well, I mean, I'm not doing it anymore. It's
That's
been
fine.
a couple of years. It's called Salt. That's all I'm going to tell you.
Okay, hold on.
I'll send it secretly to you.
The link will be in the chat in about 5 seconds.
I know. Oh my God, you guys. Oh my God, my friend's going to kill me. Oh, wow. Yep.
This is good TV. Mike searching for it right now.
Their friend's name is Pepper, so they were there.
Go ahead, you guys do you. I'm going to find this salt.
Mike, this is awful. Oh my God. Oh, wow.
So, Des, what was the first post you did for Broncos for Dummies, and how does it compare with the content you're putting out now? Like, do you look back and go, oh, or do you look back and say, that was pretty good?
Are you fucking kidding me? Sorry. Can I?
It's
All right,
fine.
now Mike's definitely putting it up.
All right.
We'll edit it in post.
Everyone. Okay, great. Well,
the big red live doesn't mean anything. Go ahead.
No.
oh my God, you guys! I know I felt so bad. I'm trying to
We'll
look
tell the
back.
daycare to go to bed.
No, it's not. No. I remember my first video. I was on a couch and barely had any lighting. Like it was, and also I didn't know the structure. But it's not even just for me. I feel like anyone that when they first start out, I always tell people, because with doing this sketch comedy channel that Mike is so adamantly trying to find.
Dude, I feel like I'm deep in like the dark web of YouTube right
you
now.
gotta look.
Mike doesn't pay this much attention to his kids. Like
they're all in there by themselves. I don't care.
I've made it hard to find. Don't worry. But whenever people are like, "What's the secret?" or like, "How do you keep creating?" I'm always like, "You just gotta do it," because I am a perfectionist, but the biggest thing I've had to overcome is like, as long as I get stuff out there, it'll be fine. And if you're not looking back at the stuff that you did before and you're not cringing, doesn't mean it means you're not growing. So, You know what I mean? It's like, it's embarrassing. I'll always keep it up there because I want to look how far I've come. And I know I still have a very long way to go. So,
you
know.
I thought
Maybe
I found it. I didn't.
I was gonna say,
You're not Mike.
I was gonna say maybe a quick follow up on that. What would be your like end goal to it? Like, what would your like if you were to picture how far Broncos for Dummies can go? What would be like your end goal?
Yeah,
you're on TikTok, right? So it's TikTok and then YouTube, and then obviously you're getting to know Twitter. So like,
oh my God, yeah,
so like, what is your end goal?
My end goal, honestly, like. What I want to do is I want to work with the Broncos. So what I saw is that especially for females working in the sports entertainment world, I saw a lot of it is just very, it's very news anchory, very serious, either interviewing the players on the field or just talking about their stats or whatnot. And I want to do it more like Hot Ones. I love how they interview these celebrities over this stupid thing, and we wouldn't be eating wings. But I feel like so many football players aren't asked the stupid questions of like, if you had to kill Harry Potter or Frodo, who would you?
Right.
I would love to know what Jerry Jeudy would say, who he's a fan of. Like, I want to eventually create entertainment with Broncos players and work and be a part of the Denver Broncos organization. So dreams are high.
I will officially say,
go big or go home.
Being
right?
obviously a big time Lord of the Rings fan, I would still kill Frodo. I don't care. He's worthless.
Sort of agree with
worthless.
You're not a fan if you wouldn't kill Frodo, I feel like.
Yeah, you're invested at that point.
Yeah.
Can we talk about maybe I guess related to or not so much of a sketch comedy and kind of like the memeage that has been going around? I have a very important question on whether or not you can say Broncos country, let's ride without laughing. Have you tried yet?
Like, say it like Russell Wilson.
Yeah, or just,
Not on the spot at all.
I know. What I'm gathering from that question is everyone thinks it's so cheesy, right? Is that what I'm gathering?
I think so.
I think it's fine.
I think it's the greatest thing I've ever heard. Like every time he says that, I'm like, I can run 10 miles. And I don't know why. It's so cheesy, but there's just something about it because we haven't had that. Like, we haven't had anything like that in so long. Like, I know it's cheesy. Like, one of my TikToks that sort of blew up was the Russell Wilson press conference when the first time he said, like, let's ride. And so many people were like, he's so cheesy. He always does this and everything. And I'm like, everyone just needs to chill. Like, we finally have a quarterback. It was a lot of people that weren't Broncos fans. And it's just like, yes, it's cheesy, but also let's see him on the field. Let's see how he does. And if he's this weird off the field, whatever, Like, I didn't love some of our other quarterbacks, but Russell Wilson, he's trying to be relatable. It's sort of working. It's working.
I think the real MVP is whoever his PR person is, or maybe even the assistant, whoever's booking all these flights where he's just like everywhere all at once in every country. And it's like everything that you're like Wimbledon. You're like, where did you come from? You were just in Morocco. How did you get there?
Pops up. He's like, hey guys, Russell Wilson's here.
on your TV screen. Just that one that's just like, let's ride.
Next, he's going to have a brick wall with a Bronco neon football. But anyway.
Yeah. I know. I need Broncos things behind me. I'm not as cool as you guys yet.
Green screens are for. This is all green screen.
So Des, what's going to happen if you find out that your content is better when the team sucks?
So low key, don't get me wrong. I was worried about that because a lot of it's easy to make fun of your team in a lighthearted way. Mm-hmm. And then when you're good, you just get way more trolls. I mean, like, trolls love to hate on people who are winning. But I just feel like we'll see. I think, but I would rather us win and me not have content. That is how selfless I am.
That's right.
Avatar wants to know if you're still in Denver.
I am not. I'm in LA, but I grew up outside of Boulder, and I do visit Denver quite often. So hoping to be back for a couple of games this year.
So I want to throw this in real quick before we continue on. We do want to send a shout out to the Mile High Blaze, who is Colorado's #1 women's semi-pro tackle football team. They just won the Division II championship for the Women's Football Alliance. So congratulations to the Mile High Blaze and their national championship. We are a town or a state of champions.
You are not. You live in the middle of nowhere.
They are.
They are. There you go.
Let's ride.
As a collective, we.
Even Campbell admit Nebraska is not a state of champions.
Stop it.
Well, I mean, we have sucked for how long?
We're not at all.
We rely off of our 90s royalty, of when we won so many championships. So no, you're not wrong. I mean, you are not wrong.
I think they deserve Mile High Blaze.
I will say there is a fun fact. I was talking to Cody over the weekend about the Mile High Blaze, and as it turns out, they actually play at Shea Stadium. I don't know if you guys know that. Bree maybe knows it, but Shea Stadium is like a high school field, and it's actually like one of the nicest high school fields, in Colorado. And so that's actually where they play. And he mentioned another field, so I thought that was kind of a fun little tidbit as far as like where they play. But yeah, I mean, to have them be in maybe one of the nicest high school fields for something like that is still pretty cool.
Well, I keep hearing all these skills that Bree has from her time playing the pickup or the pickleball games. Sorry, the pickleball games out there.
No, that's me.
Mario.
That's me.
No, it's not. No, it's not.
So I mean, Bree should just go try for the. Bree should just go try out for the Blaze and go play some ball.
I would absolutely love to. I think being a part of something like that and putting my, skills or lack thereof to use, I think would be so much fun. And then winning a championship. Are you kidding me? Also, I'm kind of a ultra competitive and fairly brutal out there. So yeah, let's do it. Let's sign me up.
They're
I'll
recruiting.
do it just for the content.
If there was a position where you just ran your head straight into anything of the opposite team, that's what Bree's position would be.
Wow.
Helmet or no helmet?
Doesn't matter.
I was gonna say it doesn't matter.
No concern for my safety. Thank you, Pat, for the vote of confidence.
Coyote says Bree loves to play pickleball.
I'm leaving that one alone.
Kill it in semi-pro.
Mhm.
Literally, you just killed it.
There it is.
There we go with that.
Yeah.
There it is.
Okay,
Yep.
so that's the same thing we ask every single guest that's on the show. Who is your favorite Broncos player of all time?
Oh, of all time.
Of all time.
Oh, shoot. I should know that. Listen, my go-to is Peyton Manning.
Mhm.
And I know it's like such a cop-out, but he's also a great actor.
He really is.
Yeah.
He does well for a football player.
Mhm.
So I think that's why I also love him.
That's
And
fair.
everything he's producing afterwards, I just think overall he's just my favorite. But my very first ever was John Lynch back in the day.
Okay.
I know. Throwback
Okay.
to that, but
I actually have a Lynch jersey, so I respect the heck out of that one. Good
dude,
call.
me too.
Oh,
My favorite one.
Is it hidden behind all your Brady jerseys? Is that where it's at?
Yeah, it's definitely out of rotation. The
Okay.
4 Brady jerseys have prime.
Mhm.
Yeah, absolutely.
I've got his cleats right behind me. I love one.
Sure, I'm sure you do.
Well, what jersey
You
don't
got
you
all
have?
kinds of hidden stuff in there.
I know. So, Des, who was the first player to like or comment or contact you about any of your posts, like any of the Broncos?
That's such a good question. I think because when I watch the games, I don't do lives, but I like post my reactions throughout it. And I think it was Cortland Sutton replied to one of them.
Wow.
But my first, oh my God. I think my first one that I was like, this, I've made it. Haven't. Melvin Gordon liked my reel about him, about keeping him on the Broncos. So I was
That's
like,
awesome.
so he's telling us something right now. But
That approval's hard to get.
Yeah, right. Oh God, I know. So
Good work. You have made it.
yeah, for Melvin. That's all that matters.
You helped recruit him back with Russell Wilson. That's all that matters.
It is because of you that
Yeah.
Melvin Gordon is back on the team.
Yeah.
Thank you. This
You
is
heard it
what I
here
told
first.
my friends. I thank you.
Yeah.
I truly believe it, but
Sorry,
It's all a part of recruitment and retaining. So yeah,
I'm still
absolutely.
distracted trying to find this salt channel. Sorry.
You're never
No,
gonna get
not,
Mike back.
bro.
I'm
Hold
gonna
on.
find
send
it.
it to you. I
Run the
will
show
send it
for
to
God's
you.
sake.
It's a challenge. It's personal now.
You know, the broadcast ended 14 minutes ago when Mike accidentally.
Oh my God. Let's go to commercial.
Let's do
Oh my
that.
We
God.
need a sponsor quick.
I was actually going to say the real test would have been we don't say anything and then have him like near the end of the show be like, I still can't find it. I still can't find it.
That's true.
I'm trying. I've already had to reload the page like 3 times. I'm trying. I'm gonna find
You
it.
have to go back to your kids at some point.
No, I don't. That's what my wife is for. So you talked about this offseason, how this has been a crazy offseason. Are you excited about the Rob Walton ownership?
I am. I'm not necessarily. I would say I'm more pro than con it because I know there was a lot floating around that some people didn't want him to buy it. But at that point, I was just like, we need an owner to like anyone to buy the Broncos, and also why not have it be like the richest person on earth or like 19th richest? Like that's fine with me. Like whatever. I don't know. Should I feel one way or another? I feel like
I like how he is the 17th richest person in the world, and you know he got that rich not just because obviously the his family, but because he is very frugal. He's cheap a little bit because he's like, I am the 17th richest person in the world, but I'm going to split this a bit with some of these other guys, just to, because I don't want to spend you know, a quarter, not even a quarter, an eighth of what I'm actually worth.
Right, like in the ownership group.
Yeah. Just like, let's give a little bit to there. Who's the most, like, some bam names that we can get in here? You give me some of your money.
Right.
You give me some of your money.
So have you seen SoFi yet? And next time you go, will you think my owner is way richer than his brother-in-law or his cousin or whoever
His
this is?
cousin-in-law.
And this is going this is the guest house to our next stadium in Denver. Like what
Yo, I mean, I went to SoFi for the New Year's game this year, and I don't. So, but to your question, yes, I've been to SoFi. It's amazing. How do you guys feel about there's going to be a new stadium? Like, I think there's like debate that there's not. There's going to be a new stadium. How do you guys feel about that?
What I've said before is I've been to the stadium only one time, and I like where it is currently because being in Seattle, we kind of crammed all of our stadiums together in one little area, and I hate it, especially for like parking, and it's just like not great. And so when I was over there in Denver, it was just really cool to see like just out in the middle of the open. So like if they were to build a new stadium, it probably wouldn't be like that. It would probably be a little more tucked in, or I don't even know where it would be. But yeah, that was my only opinion on it.
I've got into copious amount of fights on the internet over whether it should be domed or undomed. I'm not a fan of the cold weather, and I'm a Colorado native, so I would really like to stay out of the elements. I do understand that there's a thing called football weather, but I don't want any part of it. So I think that the talks of them moving it out east or keeping it directly where it is would be a little bit hard given the real estate space. You'd almost have to build it directly on top of it. So I don't know. It's interesting. I think that, yes, that's relatively where the organization is going to go. We're about 20 years out from the resurrection of Mile High number 2. I'm going to call it Mile High because that's what it is. I know that I saw that opinion out earlier today that it's not Mile High Stadium anymore, and I say false to that. So anybody holds an opinion other than that, you can drop it in the comments. I'd be happy to respond. But I'm looking forward to an upgrade of some sort, maybe a reconstruction of some things that have aged out. If you look at stadiums built after Mile High number 2, there's just been some major technological and infrastructure updates that just I think Broncos country deserves, and I'm there every single game, every single home game. So I'd really like better seats, and my cup holder needs fixing. So again, I'm still
well, kind of to Bree's point though, real quick. Sorry, the whole name thing is like it's always going to be what meant most to everybody, because like at this point, it's just all these companies buying the rights to the name for 10 20 years or whatever. Now what was like the Steelers new name, Heinz Field is now like a Acrisure state. I don't know, like, what, we can't pronounce these, like just it's just Heinz Field forever, like I don't know.
Actually it's Strawberry Fields forever, but I did hear yesterday when that was changed that the value of these second and third companies that jump in on these name rights, they're paying additional money than the original people paid, but the fans are still calling the stadium what it originally was. So I mean, it's always Mile High to me. I would love for it to stay downtown. I love the vibe there. I'm a fan of the retractable roof. I try to shy away from interacting with anyone that's afraid of a dome for football. I know Bree does too. But why not? Why not get us a Super Bowl? Why not get I mean, let's spend this dude's money. He's old.
And I think that it's one of those cases. Like, I mean, it's not like the Rockies. I mean, we all know the Rockies started out at Mile High Stadium, and then it became Coors Field, and then we all know of it now as Coors Field. I think it'll be interesting with the Avalanche, because there are still a lot of people that still call it Pepsi Center. But now that they won the Stanley Cup, it'll be interesting if there's that transition now, people calling it Ball Arena. But I will always forever call it Pepsi Center and Mile High, in as far as those two stadiums. And as far as, the move for myself, like I hate the idea of moving in by DIA. I understand it from like the tourist perspective. Like, hey, you're flying in and you're seeing the Broncos Stadium, like as you're, getting ready to land. I understand it from that point of view, but it's just like from the actual, like just the overall, skyline of everything that is there. I agree with everybody. It's just like, keep it where it is. And I do know that I have heard that, there's stuff like with Elitch's that it may move or may not move. If it moves, if Elitch's does move and it's kind of close to Ball Arena, I mean, at that point you could put the new stadium maybe there, and then then you would have basically, you basically have Ball Arena, and then you'd have the Broncos Stadium. But I mean, the thing that just is kind of hard is the Broncos Stadium now is in such a great place that you could literally do the upgrade, and then you could have two focal points of the skyline of Coors Field, and then you can have it be the Broncos' new stadium with upgrades.
I mean, don't you kind of want to have the dome on the stadium though if you want to sell the Super Bowl?
It has to be retractable, in my opinion.
I'm super basic when it comes to dome games. I just like the way it looks on the TV machine. Like the lighting is the lighting is fantastic always. Like who except for the Cowboys. That stadium's terrible. I feel so bad for those players that have to get blinded halfway through the game.
Yeah.
That's stupid. But besides that, love all the other dome games.
Des, we didn't get your opinion on that. How do you feel about the stadium? Any changes you'd prefer?
In my perfect dream world, it would stay where it's at and just a new stadium. But obviously, logistic wise, I know that won't work out. But it's just anyone that gets. I'm so neutral about these things because I'm like, I have literally no control over this. So I'm like, if it moves, that blows, but I'll go, but I love where it's at. But I think a guy that is this rich didn't just buy a team to keep the same stadium for however long, like it's going to change. It just depends on location, I think is the only thing that we don't know yet.
He could literally afford two of them. He could build another one.
Why not?
And then just back and forth. Like, you guys like this one? Okay, yeah, let's go back over there for.
I mean,
I just saw on Twitter he just bought Shea Stadium, so the Blake out.
I was going to say he's so rich that he could literally, if he wanted to, step in and buy the Colorado Rockies from the Montforts, which, I mean, he should do anyway.
I think he should. Just get it all.
Guys, what is the best idea you've ever come up with since you've had the channel?
The best idea?
Like in regards to the show, or just an idea in general? Because that's a lot.
I invented electricity. The tire is round.
Coming on this show.
No, I meant on your channel. Come on.
On my channel, the best idea. Yo, dude, I have no idea. I mean,
favorite. Like which one came to your mind and you said, and you just immediately grab the pen and start putting it to paper? Okay,
you're talking about like the topics of the videos. Which one has been my favorite?
Yes. Or just even your best line, whatever. I just like to.
I'm changing it, Glenn.
I know. I'm like.
I'm not from a comedic mind. I want to hear your best joke.
My favorite one to do was Russell Wilson, and that one got the most views. I think because it was my favorite. It's like whatever is your favorite, others can tell that you love it too. But I mean, that time was just so electric, and I was just like, I can write for days on this, So, I think that was my favorite video to date.
I think it's your pop soundbite when the edits change on there.
Yes, my other invention, the pop soundbite. Yes.
Are there any to the same vein? Sorry, Mike. Go ahead. In the same vein of that question, I was going to ask maybe what was your favorite video that you've done? So since Glenn already went in that direction, is there a video that you wanted to make, or maybe a clip or a reel or a post that you wanted to put out there that maybe you felt the world wasn't ready for, or maybe it would have been received oddly? Like, is there anything that you wish you would have put out there already that you haven't, without giving away further content creation, obviously?
Well, that's a good question. I might think of a better answer, but like right now, I'm not at the place where I feel like I have to really censor myself yet. So I'm sort of just like, I'm putting things out, and if you don't like it, you don't like it. Luckily, I've gotten a lot of good feedback. Obviously, there's both because it's the internet. But I don't know. I think one thing, I don't know. That's hard to, yeah, because, and also, I don't know. I think where I found like my bread and butter, actually, and it might backfire, but is I do say quite neutral on topics, like with the Melvin Gordon signing. Like, I also try to say positive. Like, there's a lot of shows that people watch because they want opinions, and I watch them because of that. But I found that I just want to make sure that I'm just sticking to the facts and what I need to report, I guess, instead of being negative towards players. Like, that's like the last thing I will ever do is say anything negative about a player, no matter if like however bad they are. Like, I even felt bad about when Drew Lock went to the Seahawks, and I was like, well, he went, even though I have like very strong opinions about it. But it's like, he did good for us. Like, he was here, he was a Bronco. Like, we have to respect that. You know, it didn't turn out how we wanted, but the guy did all right. Okay, he did fine.
He was
I
here.
get it. I get it.
He was here. He was here.
And now he's gone.
And now,
End of story.
But I guess the real question is, would you buy a Seahawks Drew Lock jersey? That's really the real question.
I love the eye roll.
Yeah.
That was great. Oh, she's gone now. Look
Oh, what
you
happened? That's
did.
crazy.
God.
I can't believe she's gone. Oh, she's back again.
It was gifted to me. Please,
Never.
Des, continue on with the question.
Oh,
What?
you loved it. You loved it.
What?
That's
You'll,
right.
okay, follow me on Twitter and you'll get to see all the
I
antics.
know.
that I get
We
into.
talked about, yes, right before the show, how I don't know Twitter, guys. So
She's got to find the follow
I'm
button. Just
learning
give her a minute.
Twitter.
I was
You can see
gifted
all
a
of it.
Drew Lock #2 Seahawks jersey.
Mhm.
And
That's
I wore it
hilarious.
in Vegas for the draft.
You wore it 6 days.
And I
on
was
end.
actually
Yeah.
having people yell at me like, "Go Hawks!" And I was like, "Yeah, go Broncos!" And they were like flabbergasted.
Wait, what?
And it was
Confused on so many different levels.
very.
And it's funny that Bree like still likes Drew Lock because a wayward pass actually broke her cup holder at her seat. So that
That's what it was. That's why it needs to get fixed.
I didn't want to bring it up, but
Exactly.
since you put it out there,
Yeah. Man, so if he gets the quarterback spot, what are you going to wear, Bree? For the opening game?
Yeah, Bree.
I swear, I was already told I'm not allowed to wear it. So
I don't disagree, but I mean, what are you going to wear?
I mean, it was for the memes.
Yeah.
I
If you wear the Drew Lock jersey, oh my gosh.
You know what? I actually might. I've actually thought about going out there for the game. And it's been, I kind of have to. You have to play the game. I need to put it out on the internets and I need to have people yell at me because it makes them feel better. So you know what? You've inspired me. I think I'm going to do it. Right.
You might
You're
make
so
ESPN
selfless.
actually.
I love your, your selflessness in how you want to, portray. Like, I think I just have to Broncos breakdowns, like keep digging deeper. Yeah, no, I have no good answer to that.
That's
We'll
Bill.
see what
Hi,
happens.
Bill.
Hi, Bill.
Yeah, I almost feel like you need to take that Seahawks lock jersey and customize it and change the green to orange.
Mm-hmm.
And then it still looks like the Seahawks, but it's Broncos colors, right?
You know when people have like a custom jersey and you're like, man, I'm the only person in this stadium wearing this jersey. It's crazy to think about. Bree can feel like that. she can be
can
one of
live
those
it.
people without having to spend more than $100 on a jersey. It's
It was
impressive.
free. I don't
That's
know.
right.
Yeah.
honestly, how often does the backup quarterback have people wearing his jersey at the game?
Wow. The two is for his depth chart spot. Okay, so I did want to get your thoughts on Von Miller because there was a little story that came out over the past couple days where he had gotten word to the Broncos front office that if they made a trade for Rodgers or Wilson, that he would be fine coming back to the Broncos. And then there was no contact from the Broncos after that. did you want to have Miller back, or did you not want Von Miller to come back after he won the Super Bowl with the Rams?
Oh my God. Well, I can't believe that's like the first time I've heard that. Of course I wanted him back. When he got traded, I just got off a phone call off of work, and I just sat there crying, and I like called my dad, and I was like, why does it feel like I just went through a breakup? And he's like, Des, get yourself together. All right. And but ever since he left, a piece of my heart has been missing. I love Von. I don't know. I want nothing but the best for him. And if he came back, oh my God, I can't even think about it because my heart is like already, but it's not going to happen. It hasn't happened. It won't ever happen.
But if a breakup nets you a 2 and a 3, it's kind of worth the breakup.
Well, I think the way they put it was like Miller got 20 years average, right? 20 per.
20.
And then you've got Gregory, who's 4 years younger, and he came for about 13.6, something like that. So, I mean, do we think that Gregory is going to do better than Von would if he came back on the Broncos?
Well, I mean, it's still about how cost effective it is, right? I mean, because it's just like who knows? Maybe Von wanted to sign that 5-year, $70 million deal that Randy Gregory signed, but I mean, like, I don't know. It's one of those cases where at some point you'd have to move on, but at the same time, it feels great knowing the fact that he still refers to the team as we. I know that it's something that maybe might rub some people the wrong way, just because I mean, like, especially if the team that he's on and he refers to the team as the Broncos, as we, it might rub you the wrong way. But I mean,
right? Like Bills fans, like,
yeah.
That's
wait a minute.
I know the new girlfriend being like, you're still talking about her?
Yeah.
So awkward.
I mean, I feel like,
so I mean, he's like really talking about her.
Yeah.
Yes, we're referring to them as we, and that's unfortunate.
That's true.
Yeah,
that's
been there.
I love Vaughn, but that dude is a tease, like hard, like emotional bouncing all over the place. It's like where the action. He's like, baby, I want you. I want you back. But like this new piece start walking by like that. That meme where they're walking.
What was
on the
that?
Field, they turn around and like looking at the Von Miller. Like I believe it, but I'm like, I don't know.
Dude, you have got to do your wedding vows in that voice.
Right. Oh, that
your wedding vow. Yeah, you got to do your wedding vows like that.
I will say that is not how I got my fiance.
You didn't broach the subject like that. I'm shocked.
No,
that would have gone over so well.
Yeah, but it's funny you say tease though, Boggins, because I remember, what was it like? He even I will be honest, I've not even checked Twitter if he's even updated his bio from Denver Broncos to Buffalo Bills. But it's just but it's just like. I mean, still, it's just like it's one of those things. Like he even has like he had the whole thing on Instagram, right, where he was like saying, should I wear 58 or 40 if I'm back with the Denver Broncos? And it's just like, okay, this dude either knew something was up, that the Broncos were going to get a quarterback, and obviously never materialized. But clearly, he wanted to come back, and I think that and so the fact that the Broncos made it a little bit more of a priority to move on with the next chapter, I think it was kind of best for both parties. But the most important thing I think though is and I made this point a few times, but it's like you rarely see it sometimes, I think, in sports, and it doesn't even matter if it's football or baseball or whatever, but when you have a franchise player and they go their separate ways, there's a really bad relationship at times with a lot of those franchise players, to where like the relationship is completely severed. But the fact that still you have Vaughn referring to him as we, and that he has a mutual respect for the city and for Denver, and then I mean, that's actually where his child was born. I mean, it was just like he has a mutual respect for the city of Denver and for the Broncos as a whole. So it does bring tears to your eyes knowing the fact that Vaughn still has a love for the city. I mean, heck, he went to an Avs game with Brandon McManus.
Well, I got free tickets. Do you think that there's something to it that maybe he knew that there was no chance, and so by putting it out there that I've always wanted to stay, then all of a sudden the team looks, like his favor amongst the fans is still there, but it looks like the team maybe turned their back on a legend. I don't know.
And I thought his whole thing was trying to get to Dallas, right? Like he was a Dallas Cowboys fan growing up. The only reason he didn't go to Dallas is because the Bills paid him more money. So if he had the option to choose between Denver or Dallas, which one is he going to go? That's why I'm wondering.
Probably Dallas, just because that's his hometown. Like that's where he's from. That makes. It's been rumor. Is it even a rumor that he's always wanted to play in Dallas at one point in his career? Like I don't know, but I don't know. I still think he's a slight tease, but also a good PR move to obviously still want to play with the Broncos, but keep that out there that you always wanted to play with the Broncos because that's where your legacy is. Like no matter where you go at the tail end of your career, like LA isn't going to remember like Vaughn's career with them, essentially, like the fans. Buffalo isn't going to remember, but like Denver is where your legacy is, and that's where you want to make sure that the fans are like always holding dear to that.
Right. No, I have to echo that sentiment. Yeah, and you also have the opportunity to go win another Super Bowl with your third team. Just absolutely incredible to do so. And we should all be rooting him on. I know it's hard to see other people be happy, but that's the true sign of love, right? Is that you're allowing this person to go on and live their dreams, let them fly. And if, he comes back and retires a Bronco, that's actually a perfect storytelling of his legacy. So.
Can we bring up Zach Sears' question here? Yeah. Can we bring up Zach Sears' question?
It's a very important
question. Good question.
Vegas lists Tom Brady and the Buccaneers as the Broncos' most likely Super Bowl opponent. If they meet, who would you root for in the Super Bowl? Bree.
Yeah, I was going to ask.
Let's start with Bree.
I think our guest should go first. That's a great question.
Fine, Des, you're first.
Are you a Tom Brady fan?
Where's your jerseys, Bree?
She very much is.
Tom Brady is my absolute favorite player to probably ever play the game. I was a Patriots fan for a really long time. I've worn a Patriots jersey into Mile High Stadium to the jest of my father, who swore never to bring me to another game. Joke's on you, Dad. I have the season tickets now.
I don't think we can continue to have you on the show anymore. That's terrible.
No.
In all seriousness, I would root for the Broncos, but I would cry alongside Brady as he walked off the field.
Your face is hilarious.
You already promised to follow me back on Twitter. You can't back out of it.
Oh God, I forgot about that.
Bree would be that fan that's like crying and pointing at Tom, like, I love you, but you lost.
Yeah. Bree does not have a Tom Brady jersey hanging up in her house. She has two. Okay. Yeah. At least that we know about.
That we know closet. Yeah.
Closet, literally a closet Brady fan.
Oh my God.
No, I wear the jerseys. I flaunt in it. I peacock around in it. I'm like, this is great.
I'm sorry.
So
wow, you peacock around in it.
Yeah, like
I know what it means.
Proud about it. Like I'm not. He's the greatest quarterback to play the game.
We almost got her say that.
She almost threw up when she said that.
I know. Des is. Listen, it's not personal. Tom Brady does not. He hasn't hurt any of you, so I don't.
Okay, speak for yourself.
Yeah.
Okay.
Speak for yourself.
Maybe a little emotionally here and there. Okay.
I'm sorry. I didn't realize that this conversation was triggering in the slightest, and I'm so sorry, guys. I personally slighted you, and
he's also a big time Joe Flacco fan.
It's all because of Zach. He brought back that war, and now we're angering people.
Yeah, you've upset people.
It's just such a shock. That's it. Do I look at you differently? No.
Yes.
Oh.
Yes.
Yes.
No.
Absolutely.
I'm shocked.
It's kind of like finding out your best friend killed your dog, right? Yeah. That's what I was saying.
I respect it. Do I get it? No.
No.
You don't have to
Not even a
respect
little
it
bit.
just because we're on TV.
You're right.
You could just tell her
It's just my first time here. I
trash.
can't say.
Yeah,
I can't beat Bree down too much, you know.
Thank you for having some grace with me. None of the man who commented that is my co-host. Like, this is just, it's fine.
What kind of co-host is that? I'm just kidding.
Did you dirty there?
All right. Well, we do want to thank Des for joining us on the show today. That is about all the time we've got. Now, before we go, we have to let everybody know that Boggins is going to be gone for the next 3 weeks because he's getting married this weekend.
What?
Woo!
Crazy.
Love.
Let's go, Boggins.
I found a girl, Mom. She said yes to me.
She said yes.
Cam, when do you fly out to be? Because you're the ring bearer, I think, right?
No, I'm the guy that just brings the Bible up.
Oh,
okay.
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 Yeah. I forgot what you did. So,
all right. Well, again, we want to thank Des for joining us. And if you do want to follow her on her social medias, it's Broncos for Dummies on everyone except for Twitter is Broncos with the number 4 Dummies. Yeah. She also has a TikTok. Is that Broncos for Dummies as well? I'm going to assume.
which is us. We are the demographic. Which
is us. Until I find that Salt channel, and then we'll have that one too.
I will send it to you.
Okay, good, because I'm going to link it everywhere I can possibly.
Oh, I will not send it to you. I will not send it to you.
We made a friend and we lost it, right?
Well,
like
gained it, lost it,
go.
all the same show. But we do want to thank you so much for joining us. Also, make sure that you like, follow, subscribe, turn on notifications so you can know when we post and when we go live. Also, make sure you tune into our other podcasts, Wild Wild West on Wednesdays, 7:30, 6:30, 5:30, 4:30. Nothing Rhymes with Orange and Blue podcast with Johnny and Jay on Thursdays at 7, 6, 5, 4. And Broncos Breakdown with Bronco Bill every Friday at 2, 1, 12, and 11. Now we're going to go ahead and head out. And Des, you can hang out in the back. We'll be there just in a second, okay? Goodbye, everybody. Go Broncos. Have a good wedding, Broncos. And
Let's
goodbye.
ride.